Hello. So recently I was listening to this podcast featuring CJ Greenball, who you may know as the creator of Chowder. And in this podcast, he said this.
I always say that for webcomics too, that it's a good place to it's a good thing to do when you're just trying to learn how to draw or tell stories, because if you get on a schedule and you stick to it, that's a good place to just grind.
Oh, yeah.
Which made me think, yes. And so, I had the brilliant idea of making my own freaking sweet comic book with my own and totally unique characters and ideas which have never been done before. So then, how did it go? What did I learn from this experience? And how did I do it? Well, I'll tell you right now. Yeah. Now, firstly, I had to think, which admittedly I don't do a lot of. I had to think about the characters that I was gonna write. What sort of story do I want to tell? What sort of journey will they experience, and what sort of things will happen within my story? Is it a comedy? Is it an action? Is it a drama, love story? All of everything. What I wanted to focus on mainly is the characters, because I genuinely find that the most interesting thing within any sort of media, right? But the question arises then, how? How do you make a character that is interesting and that is also not just plain boring? Well, that's the question that I had to answer with myself, as I had never really written anything before. I never really had written any stories or written really long in-depth scripts, or never even had touched fan fiction. Ugh. So what did I do? Maybe check out some essays? Take a course? Nah, we do things on a whim. Basically, I took two of my favorite characters, Reagan Arataka and Joseph Joestar, and I kinda made this little freak. Then I made a tragic backstory about how he didn't eat his vegetables, and then his mom died, and then he became like a superhero or something, and then, I made a good character. Yeah. And so that's basically my character that I made. I decided on making it a superhero story, since it's quite easy to make your characters look more interesting and to also have more action. That's, make it more interesting for the reader. And then I also laid out a general summary of what will happen within the story. But it's still under construction, so I'm not gonna tell you. But once I had it finished, I basically sort of went off that main character. I wrote different dynamics for what sort of characters would go along with it, thought of the different banter that could come out of it, sort of why would they meet together? What circumstances will happen? Who's the general overseer of the superhero society, I suppose, right? Is it like a secretly super evil society? Is it what sort of struggles do they face? Why are the villains? What was the reason behind superpowers? And basically, I just sort of filled out the blank details until I relatively had something that could be made into a comic book. Of course, none of it that is in the first comic book, as it's just a short little thing that I decided to make for the heck of it. So yeah, let's move on to actually making it. Yeah. And with the premise set in stone, I decided to give myself 15 days to make one issue of the webcomic. It'd be rather short, with it only being around 3 pages long, as it is more of a testing round on whether I could really do it. And then, the time has started. Now if you've ever seen my channel before, you'd know that my art skills aren't, great, because from my limited point of view, I think that my art is rather flat, just proportionate. I don't know anything about colors, rendering, I just don't know it. However, that wouldn't stop me, as I began sketching out the scenes and I planned out what would exactly happen within the issue. Then I added some smoother line work to it, and then I added color and extra details towards the backgrounds. Nice! Now I should also mention that I decided on the setting being in Portugal, in the city of Porto. Why? Well, I don't know, I just felt like it. Now, since I'm not Portuguese, I decided to go onto Google Maps and take some images of the area as reference for the backgrounds. However, that was a terrible mistake, because I spent way too much time just focusing on tracing the backgrounds, adding in the colors, and adding all the necessary detail that you'd only really look for 12 seconds. And it just ended up taking way too much time and made me have to extend my time working on the thing. So yeah, next time, don't focus on the backgrounds, focus on the important details like scaling the characters, and just in general, a big oops on my part. Webtoon is probably the largest out of the three. It is basically this Korean site where anyone can publish their webtoons. And it is, it's okay. There's a lot of romance on it, and a lot of your typical boy. I reincarnated as a hated SSS magician cheater in an MMORPG who is secretly overpowered, and that sort of stuff. It is from Korea, so I guess they like that sort of stuff. It's not my thing, but I decided to post on it because it has a specific area called the Webtoon Canvas. And it's a mixed bag. It's basically a garbage dump. There isn't much quality control, and you get a lot of weird AI stuff, or just kids posting their MS Paint doodles, which, it has its own charm, and if you can go dig deep, you'll probably find some gold. But that wasn't the main issue. What bothered me is this compression. What is this? Webtoon needs you to abide by their strict image sizes, or else they make your comic look like it's made in MS-DOS. So I had to change up some stuff when exporting in Krita. I made sure to decrease the size and to also turn off smoothing and some other stuff. I don't remember what I did. But even then, it still looked really blurry, and I'm not sure how to really change that, because how? I would understand if I had made a small image into a big image, right? You're stretching out the pixels. But I'm making a big image into a small image. Why is it looking blurry? Anyway, let's talk about a good platform now. Ah yes, Newsgrounds, the classic website that everyone goes to for high quality animations, drawings, and games. It's been around for a while and certainly has earned its reputation as a staple for artists online. On Newsgrounds, the bar's way higher than Webtoons, as there is actual moderation on the stuff that is posted. If it's too low quality or isn't made by the user, then it gets rejected. Which was actually a slight fear of mine because, well, my art isn't the greatest, but hey, it all worked out. And now my comic is just on there without any efforts, which is incredible as compared to Webtoon, which is backed by Naver, which is a massive Korean conglomerate. It's basically Google, right? Korean Google. Newsground is just run by ads and user support, and you can just post anything on there without any restrictions. That's incredible. Kara is an interesting one. I would compare it to Newsgrounds on the similar vein of it supports artists, it is against AI, and it just in general wants to help out artists by supporting them and giving them a platform to post their art, which is great. I'd say it's more Instagram-like in its user face, and the website itself is more collage based. You wouldn't really see many animations, which, is fair enough. Again, didn't have any issues posting there, compared to some other websites, and I think it's quite underrated, and I think more people should check it out. Again, if you want, you could also support them. Same with Newsgrounds, since they're mostly run by supporters, and I don't even think Kara has any ads, so yeah, good website. Another thing that I could mention about Kara is that the community is very supportive. Sometimes I just post on it and someone would just like it. It has a very tight-knit community of artists, and if you're looking for a very supportive group of people where you can post your art and meet other people, then I'd recommend it. Well, that's it. That's the end of the video. You can go now. Bye-bye. 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 No? Well, okay. So this is my first video that I've made in a while. Sorry about that. I was actually making a video, during the summer, but it kind of did not go as I planned, and I guess I'll tell you a bit about it. So I was making this animation based off the song Monkey Trick by Jesus Lizard, and basically the joke is, right, they have this very long intro sequence, and then there's a scream, and it kind of sounds like, the funny man Psychic Pebbles. And I thought, hey, what if he screams at the end of the video? But the video is just kind of not good. It takes way too long, and I didn't really know what to put in for the build-up, and it just did not go well. But yeah. So that was my video. I think I could have talked a bit more about the actual comic itself, but well, it's still under development, and I do plan on continuing it and continue working on it and expanding the, I suppose, characters and building it up more as it goes on. But you know, that's just the beginning stages. I will try keeping it updated, so once a month I'll try making one chapter once a month, because I have like college and other stuff, and it's, you know, trying to balance all the which it's difficult. I also think of making some other animations as well that I plan on putting out, so you know, if you wanna see that, stay tuned. But yeah, that's it. That's it. You can go now. Dislike the video, unsubscribe. Bye.